Have you ever noticed how the more you think about someone, the more they seem to disappear from your life? You replay conversations, you imagine scenarios, you check your phone, you wonder why they haven't called, texted, or shown the same intensity. Meanwhile, they are busy living their life peacefully. Today, we are going to solve a silent problem that many people suffer from: emotional overinvestment. We will understand why the more space you give someone in your mind, the less space you occupy in theirs. And more importantly, how to free yourself from this exhausting cycle. Because peace does not come from controlling others. It comes from understanding yourself. There is a small story I want to share. A young man once told a monk, "I cannot stop thinking about her. She must be thinking about me too." The monk smiled and asked him, "When you dream at night, are the people in your dream aware that you are dreaming about them?" The young man paused. You see, when we think about someone constantly, we create a world in our mind where they become the center. We replay their words, we analyze their tone, we assign meaning to their silence. Slowly, without realizing, we make them more important in our imagination than they are in reality. But here is the truth. Your thoughts are private. They do not create obligation in another person's heart. Just because you think about someone deeply does not mean they feel the same depth. Just because you care intensely does not mean they are emotionally invested in the same way. The mind has a beautiful but dangerous habit. It magnifies what it focuses on. The more attention you give a person mentally, the more significant they appear in your emotional world. But significance in your mind does not guarantee significance in theirs. Imagine holding a magnifying glass under the sun. The more you concentrate the light, the hotter it becomes. In the same way, the more you concentrate the light, the hotter it becomes. In the same way, the more you concentrate, your emotions grow. But they are not feeling that heat. You are overthinking that heat. Overthinking creates a false sense of connection. You start believing there is something special happening because you feel something special. But feelings are internal experiences, not shared contracts. Often we confuse our emotional intensity with mutual importance. We think if they mattered this much to me, surely I must matter equally to them. But relationships are not mathematical equations. They are emotional realities, and emotional realities are rarely equal. This illusion creates suffering. You wait for a message because you imagine they are missing you. You expect effort because you feel attached. You assume loyalty because you are loyal in your thoughts. But while you are investing energy in thinking, they may simply be living, not with bad intentions, not with cruelty, but with neutrality. And neutrality hurts more than rejection. Because rejection is clear, neutrality is silent. When you understand this illusion, something powerful happens. You stop assuming that your thoughts create value in someone else's life. You begin to realize that importance must be shown through action, not imagined, through thought. The more you think about them, the more you shrink your own world around their presence. But the less they think about you, the freer they remain. And freedom always feels lighter than attachment. Let us understand something very gently. Attachment is not love. Attachment is fear, wearing the mask of love. When you become emotionally attached to someone in an unhealthy way, your mind slowly starts depending on them for stability. Your mood changes based on their response. Your happiness depends on their response. Your happiness depends on their attention. Your peace depends on their behavior. And that is where imbalance begins. There is a simple example. Imagine you are standing firmly Imagine you are standing firmly on your own 2 feet. You feel stable. Now, if they move even slightly, you lose balance. This is what emotional over attachment does. It shifts your center of gravity from yourself to someone else, The more you think about them, the more you emotionally lean on them. And the more you lean, the more unstable you become. You check your phone repeatedly. You overanalyze their last message. You read between the lines where there are no lines. A simple okay feels cold. A delayed reply feels like rejection. A short conversation feels like distance. But in reality, nothing may have changed except your level of attachment. When an attachment grows beyond balance, the mind starts creating stories. Maybe they are losing interest. Maybe I said something wrong. Maybe they don't value me. These stories are not facts. They are insecurities amplified by emotional dependence. And here is the painful part. The other person may not even realize you are fighting these internal battles. You are carrying emotional weight. They are simply walking freely. Attachment also creates expectation. And expectation, when unspoken, becomes silent pressure. You expect them to think about you as much as you think about them. You expect equal effort, equal intensity, equal longing. But expectations without communication lead to disappointment. The mind begins to swing like a pendulum. One moment you feel hopeful. The next moment you feel precious. One message makes you happy. One silence makes you restless. This emotional fluctuation is mental imbalance. True emotional health means your peace is not hostage to someone else's behavior. There is a beautiful principle in life: love deeply, but stand independently, care sincerely, but remain centered. Feel fully, but do not lose yourself in the process. When you overthink someone, you slowly lose your own rhythm. Your routines get disturbed. Your focus weakens. Your energy drains. You are physically present in your life, but mentally occupied by someone else. And imbalance grows quietly. Attachment says, I need them to feel complete. But maturity says, I am complete and I choose to share my completeness. When you depend on someone emotionally for validation, you hand them control over your internal world. Not because they asked for it, but because they asked for it, but because you gave it. The more you think about them, the more you feed the attachment. And the stronger the attachment, the more fragile your peace becomes. Healthy connection feels calm. Healthy connection feels calm. Unhealthy attachment feels anxious. Healthy love feels secure. Unhealthy attachment feels urgent. Healthy bonding allows space. Unhealthy attachment feels distance. Healthy bonding allows space. Unhealthy attachment fears distance. When you start noticing that your thoughts are constantly circling around one person, pause and ask yourself gently, am I loving or am I clinging? Because clinging creates imbalance, and imbalance creates suffering. Emotional strength is not about not caring. It is about caring without losing your center. It is about remembering that your mind is your sacred space. Whoever lives there should add peace, not chaos. And when you stop leaning emotionally on someone for stability, something magical happens. You regain your balance, you stand firm again. And suddenly, whether they think about you or not, no longer determines how you feel. Inside, there is a quiet danger in the human heart. We begin to measure our value by how much attention we receive. If they call, we feel important. If they text, we feel remembered. If they praise us, we feel worthy. If they ignore us, we feel small. But tell me something, has your value truly changed in those moments? Or has your perception changed in those moments? Or has your perception changed? Attention is pleasant, it feels warm, it feels validating, but it is not the foundation of self-worth. The problem begins when we confuse attention with value. Imagine a mirror. When someone looks at you with admiration, it feels like the mirror reflects something beautiful. But when they look away, you assume the beauty has disappeared. The truth is, the mirror did not create the beauty. It only reflected it. In the same way, someone's attention does not create your worth. It only reflects how they see you at that moment. And how they see you depends on their needs, their mindset, their priorities, not your intrinsic value. When you think about someone constantly, somewhere deep inside, you are hoping to matter to them. You want reassurance, you want acknowledgement, you want proof that you are significant in their world. But when that proof does not come, your mind begins to question itself. Am I not enough? Did I do something wrong? Why don't they care the way I care? The way I care. This is where self-worth becomes dependent on external validation. Let me share something important. A flower does not lose its fragrance because someone walked past without noticing it. The fragrance remains. The person simply did not pause long enough to experience it. The person simply did not pause long enough to experience it. Your value is like that fragrance. It exists whether someone appreciates it or not. When you attach your worth to someone's attention, you give them silent authority over your self-esteem. Their response becomes your measurement tool. Their silence becomes your insecurity, and slowly, without realizing, you begin chasing attention instead of nurturing your own growth. You dress a certain way, hoping they notice. You post something hoping they react. You say certain words hoping they respond warmly. Your actions start revolving around earning validation. But validation earned through effort is fragile. The moment the attention decreases, your confidence shakes. True self-worth is quiet. It does not beg, it does not chase, it does not perform for approval. It simply knows. It knows that even if no one calls, you are still valuable. Even if no one calls, you are still capable. Even if no one praises, you are still capable. Even if no one remembers, you are still significant. Balloons on the street, even if no one remembers, you are still significant. When you stop depending on attention for worth, something powerful shifts. You no longer overthink someone's silence. You no longer analyze every delayed reply. You no longer analyze every delayed reply. You no longer interpret distance as rejection, because your identity is no longer built on a reaction. The more you think about them, the more you subconsciously seek proof that you matter. But the less they think about you, the more you feel invisible. This imbalance hurts. Only because your worth is invisible, this imbalance hurts only because your worth is externally anchored. Anchor it internally. Your skills, your kindness, your discipline, your character, these define your worth, not someone's fluctuating interest. People's attention is like weather. Sometimes sunny, sometimes cloudy, sometimes absent. But your value should be like the sky, steady, vast, unchanged by passing conditions. When you truly understand this, You stop trying to occupy space in someone else's mind. You start occupying your own life fully. And when you respect your worth, you no longer chase attention. You attract respect without demanding it. Many people misunderstand detachment. Detachment. They think it means becoming cold, distant, or emotionally unavailable. But true detachment is not about withdrawing love. It is about releasing control. Detachment means you care, but you do not cling. You love, but you do not lose yourself. You give, but you do not beg. When you constantly think about someone, you are trying to hold them mentally. You replay their words because you want certainty. You imagine scenarios because you want reassurance. You hold on to memories because you fear distance. But peace begins the moment you loosen that grip. There is a simple analogy. If you hold sand tightly in your fist, it slips away faster. But if you keep your palm open, it rests gently. Relationships are similar. The tighter you try to mentally control them, the more anxiety you create within yourself. Detachment is not about pushing people away. It is about allowing space, both for them and for yourself. When you detach, you stop asking balloons on the street. When you detach, you start asking, why are not they thinking about my own growth? That shift changes everything. Overthinking someone consumes mental energy, and energy is life. Where your energy goes, your life flows. If your energy is constantly invested in someone who is not equally invested in someone who is not equally invested in you, you slowly drain your emotional reserves. Detachment redirects that energy back to you. You begin focusing on your goals.